Hey there, this is Drew Page, and in this video, we are going to break down Season 2, Episode 10 of Undercover Billionaire featuring the one and only Grant Cardone. Let's go.
They're going undercover in cities they've never been to with only $100, a cell phone with no contacts, and an old truck. All they'll have are the business principles they use to become successful. At the end of 90 days, all three businesses will be independently evaluated.
If it's a penny short of $1 million, I'll put in $1 million.
You know the drill. Each of our investors has 90 days to turn $100 into $1 million business with nothing but a contactless cell phone and an old pickup truck. If you haven't gotten caught up with all of my Undercover Billionaire analysis, you can click on the Undercover Billionaire playlist in the description below and catch all the previous videos that I've done in relation to Grant, Elaine, and Monique, and get caught up with everything. You can also follow me on all my other social media platforms by clicking on the links in the descriptions below. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video to help with the algorithm. And if you really want to help me out, you can get a copy of my book, The Right Defense for a Traffic Offense in Virginia, by clicking on the Amazon link in the description below. In the last episode, Grant started to get some momentum. He got a big client at the end of the episode, and now he's trying to build on that momentum and see if he can push the envelope a little bit to grow his marketing company into $1 million business and try to pick up some real estate. So let's see where he starts off this week.
Okay, let's talk about this new company. Yep. This is what I have right here: formation, ownership, players, splits, control, location, and name.
If you think you may ever own your own business, you need to back this video up to that list and make sure that you write down each of those points, because every single one of those points are critical to starting your own business. Starting first, of course, with ownership, which is what he's getting ready to deal with Matt. But take some time and go back and go through that list, write it down, and make sure you understand each and every aspect of starting a business before you jump in.
So ownership, what are your ideas?
Are we talking split money going into this?
Well, I don't have any money to put in it. I thought I'd be the sweat equity. So I'm just being straightforward. Okay, now, who's got control of the company then?
You want me to carry the money, so then I should own 51% of this.
God, I hate that.
Someone's got to be in
Somebody's got to
control.
be in charge. 100%.
Right? When I'm putting out the money here.
A good negotiator is always sensitive to the unspoken agendas, to the hidden agendas. When you're at the negotiating table, you have to understand that you don't know everything about their unspoken agendas, okay? You got their egos, you got their little secrets, you got their dreams. The most difficult part in negotiating is the not knowing. Cross those lines and you're going to punch or maybe even blow your deal.
So the first official principle we get in this episode from Grant is beware of hidden agendas. Make sure you understand in the negotiation process what it is that's really driving the other side to come to the table and what they're looking for. What type of protections are they trying to find? You know, what are they trying not to lose? And what are they trying to gain? Now, obviously, that's just negotiation 101. I mean, obviously, you're not trying to have one person win and one person lose. In the book, Getting to Yes, is all about finding that win-win situation. You know, people see on TV all the time that negotiating is a win-lose proposition. But if you're not going to give the other side anything, what benefit is there to negotiating at all? I deal with this all the time as an attorney. You know, if the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, for example, is offering a plea deal on one of my defendants, and it's not any better than what I would get at trial, why wouldn't I just go to trial? I mean, may as well take our chances. There's no reason to just roll over for the government if they're not going to give us anything. So if you're not giving anything, we're not going to give you anything. So if we're going to get the exact same thing that we're going to get if we go to trial, then I'm going to make you put in the work to go to trial. And I know you don't want to do the work because you have tons and tons of cases you got to deal with. And unlike a private attorney, you work from 9 to 5 and don't have all the time to give everything 100% of your attention. Now, I know there's some Commonwealth attorneys that take work home with them. I'm not slighting Commonwealth attorneys. But at the end of the day, it's all about making sure that both parties are getting something out of this, not just one person. So, I mean, it's not rocket science, this principle, but it is a principle that you need to keep in mind. It's not like TV where somebody has some little secret, that they're hiding behind the curtain, and so they win the negotiation and the other side loses. That's just not real life, unless you're the worst negotiator in the world.
50-50 on the profits. You want 51% control of the company.
Yeah.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll do that for the Pueblo only. If we can build this, then I want to scale this. I want to scale it nationwide. That's a separate thing.
Deal.
Look, I got Matt to put up 100% of the money. I use my sweat equity. I don't put up any dough. So I agreed to give him, in exchange for the dough, control of the company. Most of you don't like to do that, but I don't mind doing it. You know why? Because I know I'm going to do my part. Never have a 50-50 partnership. You either be 51 or they be 51. You never want two people in charge, because then no one is in charge. No one will be responsible, and you'll end up in the courthouse.
100%. 100%. I don't know if you've ever tried to do a 50-50 partnership, but it just doesn't work. When we started the law firm, me and my partner, we were discussing percentages, and we knew someone had to be a majority partner. It just doesn't make sense to have two people trying to run everything. My partner had been doing things longer. He had been bringing in more at the time, and so he got the majority of the company, and I'm the minority holder. Still doing great, and still making a lot of money, and still helping a lot of people. But at the end of the day, being a minority owner, it takes the pressure off being in charge if you care a whole lot about being in charge. But there have been some other businesses where I tried to do the 50-50 with different folks, and it just doesn't work. If you've got someone who's controlling and you want to be in control, it's just, you're going to have headaches all the time. So all of those businesses where I was 50-50 with somebody, I sold out of. I just wasn't interested in being in those deals anymore. So I sold out of those deals and then bought new deals that I was 100% in charge of, so I can run things the way that I want to do them. And those deals are doing great right now, by the way. So that is that if you've never done a partnership, just remember that if you do a 50-50, someone needs to be 51, someone needs to be 49, so you can go ahead and know your roles, and that way there's nothing to get upset about. You don't have to worry about litigation and fighting and all of that you have to do when you're a 50-50. When you both put in the same amount and then one person wants to do something and the other doesn't, I mean, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose on that one. So, make sure that you know and understand that principle when you're starting a business with someone else.
Now that Matt and I have figured out the details of our new partnership, we can move to the next order of business. We've invited Jess, hopefully our new superstar manager. Since I brought her on, we haven't really put her to work yet. So I want to lay out my expectations of what we expect her to do, and then I expect her to exceed what I expect of her. We need somebody that's going to step into a leadership role. And manage, guide, create culture, bring the family together, whip when necessary, reward often.
After determining the ownership, the next step is building the team, and they bring Jess in to hopefully take over the supervisor role and management role, which is kind of weird because isn't that what Grant's supposed to be doing with his sweat equity? But anyway, it is what it is. He's, I guess, going to be sweat equity overseeing Jess doing all the work. But anyway, nevertheless, Jess is someone who they believe can do some things that your leaders really need to be able to do in a business. You need someone that can shape your culture, someone that can lead and manage and supervise and guide and be an example. I actually just recently hired someone that I believe is going to shape the culture in a new direction in my Suffolk office, and got a real winner. And I believe she's going to come in and reshape how we do things. She's going to inspire others to work hard and do well. And I look forward to updating on that. But you really need to make sure you have a strong team leader, someone that can live up to the expectations, that can bring people along. And if people don't want to come along for the ride, then you just need to take them off the bus and replace them with other people who want to get on board with the culture and direction that you're trying to set. So that's the employment step, and it looks like they're trying to set that up with Jess.
Wake Up Pueblo is available. Getting a domain name for $12 beats the hell out of $3,800. If I'm going to have any chance of reaching millions of people, these are the types of value propositions I have to make a move on, okay?
The next phase is establishing the business name, and Matt Smith is actually the one who comes up with Wake Up. They call it Wake Up Pueblo. They get the domain name wakeuppueblo.com, and for a cheap amount of money, and they seem to be pretty excited about that. But you definitely got to make sure you get a name where there's an open domain, or you may end up paying a lot of money to get that. So keep that in mind when you're coming up with your business name.
Come on in.
This is that thing we were looking for, right?
Now look at this. We have our own elevator. This whole thing right here could become a marketing message right here. Hey, you tired of working over there? Come on over here.
Wake up, Pueblo!
Wake up, Pueblo.
This is a sweet building. It's got character for sure.
Right?
And it's huge.
Think Jenny would like it?
She's gonna love it. The location is very cool.
Let me show you one other little thing, okay, that you might like.
You got a stage in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 100% no-brainer. This is a Wake Up Pueblo spot right here.
Yep.
It's so old school and uncomfortable and perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is epic. This is it. This is the spot.
Right?
It's like one of the oldest buildings in Pueblo, isn't it?
Maybe I just move in here, live upstairs.
You live on stage. It's a ping pong table.
There's a lot of upside potential in that theater. So that was a big score. Hey, Vincent. This is Matt Smith.
Or Vincent. Pleasure to meet
Matt
you.
owns Snooze Mattress. He owns Snap Fitness up in Pueblo West.
So this is an awesome spot.
Who owns it?
A group called TIG, Tapia Investment Group.
Abel Tapia?
Right.
And he's interested in selling or leasing?
Well, actually, my recommendation to Abel was to just lease it. But, if you find somebody that is willing to buy it, then fine, buy it. Right now, there are one or two people that are interested in the building.
Yeah. I know I got to move fast on this thing to get this thing nailed down, but the last time I moved too fast, I spooked the owner. I got to be direct. I got to test the waters, but we got to be a little more gentle now.
You remember when he tried to move on the Konakaya that he thinks that he spooked the owner. I still think that if the owner was spooked by that, then that's one of the dumbest things ever. If someone's trying to make a move on a property and they've got the money to have the property, why not sell the property? I think that's stupid, just to sell it to somebody else because you don't like them. I mean, business is business. But anyway, for whatever reason, maybe it's just part of the show, Grant's now saying he needs to, make sure that he doesn't go too fast in the negotiation because they've got their eyes set on this building and they want to make it happen. So let's see how the negotiation goes. You can see that the agent is already basically saying, we've already got some people interested, so that means you're going to have to pay some big money. So let's see how the rest of the negotiation goes.
How soon can we get in there? Like, let's say we could come up with an agreement with Mr. Tapia. How is it possible that we could get in there Monday and start cleaning some of this?
So everything is negotiable.
Yeah. I got that feeling. I know when I'm in the gold mine, I know it. I'm walking around here saying there's money to be made in this here building.
You can go over it and then...
Yeah, and then you can go to him, talk to him, let's sign off or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I can't own it as Lewis Curtis because I don't have any money and I don't have any credit. But I can get Matt to use his money and his credit lines to own the entire building, not just one space. It's a great opportunity for Matt and I to make our first little step into the real estate play while we're building our marketing company.
Notice he says our first real estate play. Now, if I was Matt and the building purchase was something that I was going to be paying all the money for, that would be a completely separate entity, and the company that Lewis and Matt own together would be leasing from me. I would not be giving anybody half of the building that I'm paying for. The real estate itself, if I'm paying for it, that's going to be my real estate. And then the company can lease it from me. That would be the smart way to do it. Whether, again, this goes to whether Matt Smith knew who Grant Cardone was. If he really knew that Lewis Curtis was actually Grant Cardone. Because nobody is just going to give some dude who they've just met a couple of months ago half the value of a real estate play when they're putting up zero money. I just have a hard time buying that and believing that. So that's just me. I could be wrong, but I just don't believe that. So I don't know how the deal is structured. Obviously, they don't put the documents on the TV. They're public record, so we should be able to find them in some form or fashion in the Pueblo courthouse or something. But I just can't see how anybody's just going to give someone half a building unless they know who that person is or unless they're putting some money in the deal. But nevertheless, they've got a place. They still haven't gone through all the negotiation process, but I just wanted to, we know that one of the goals that Grant had was to get into real estate in Pueblo, and now apparently somehow he's able to get in on this first real estate play, as he calls it.
Lewis Curtis doesn't have Grant Cardone's money, but Lewis does have Grant's strategies. I'm going to teach my business partner how to buy this property the Cardone way. I don't have the money. He's got the money. He's got the credit line. I wouldn't have a financial stake in it, but this is a great opportunity for Matt to build not just a company here, but actually start our first real estate deal. I just got to convince him to do it. Okay, so the way to do it is do not do a traditional, don't go to the bank and get a loan. Okay. Don't go to the banks. You don't need to go to the banks first, because then I got to get an appraisal. Then it's got to record a deed. Then we got to do a bunch of checks, and we got to do a bunch of inspections. So we're going to go to the seller who owns the property, and I'm going to say, you carry the mortgage. Here's a 4% rate of return. That's better than you get at the bank by about 80 times. This is called owner financing, okay? And that is going to put the seller in a position to get payments now over long periods of time, not have to pay any taxes yet, because we won't actually make a sale until later. And it gives Matt time to build a business within a business, commercial real estate, produce income, and then later go to the bank 2 or 3 years from now and get a permanent loan.
Now, the owner financing is a great option. It's a great idea. Obviously, if you don't have a lot of money up front, it's a way for you to be able to get real estate without having to throw a lot of money down, and it keeps you from having to go to the bank at a higher interest rate if you don't have the credit or if you're not able to put enough down. You can sometimes get a better rate from the owner. The problem is what if the seller needs all the money now? If they need the money now, they're not going to want to do owner financing. They're going to want to get paid now. They may want to flip it into a 1031 exchange so that they can get a better piece of property, or they may just want to pay taxes on it, collect their profit, and move on. So it really hinges on if the seller is willing to take that, because they're likely able, if they wanted to just get cash flow by renting it out or leasing it out to someone else. They have not done that, which would suggest to me that they're just wanting to get the payment now. But maybe they can convince them that, hey, we're a stable business. I'm in the community, and you don't have to worry about my checks being bad. So if you carry the mortgage and we pay you, you're making money. So it depends on the age of the owner, the risk tolerance of the owner. So there's a lot of things to think about. So it's not as simple as, hey, we're just going to go get owner financing and that's the end of it. The seller's going to have something to say about that too. It's a great option, but let's see how that plays out.
What's he want for it? $1 million? So you go to him, you say, hey, rather than conducting a sale, okay, why don't we do a lease purchase, an option? Here's how we put the magic spell on it. Okay, you put it under contract, get control of it. We're the first tenants. And you have the rest of the building to rent. Start moving other people in and change the lease amount to increase the value of the building.
So what we're paying rent, the tenants would already pay for. Now we're talking.
Just got to get tenants.
Yeah.
Matt needs to buy this building. The building's right. The location's sick. We can fill it up with tenants. He's going to run his operations from there. Why not just go ahead and knock this bad boy right out of the park and give it another 18 months and you'll make another $1 million too.
When he says to go back later to the bank and get a permanent loan, what he's talking about is refinancing. So this is one of the key tenets to somebody who is in commercial real estate or multifamily real estate. So when you purchase a property, it has a certain value, but that takes into consideration the property as it is right now. So if there are tenants in there, they're already paying a certain amount of rent. If there's an ability for the rent to go up, then that gives you an ability to increase the value of the property. So let's say you go in and you raise the rents $200 on each of the tenants. That increase in rent not only gives you more cash flow, but it increases the value of the property as a whole. So then when you go back to the bank and ask them to refinance, they give you a higher valuation on the property. So if you do a cash out refinance, the money that you take out pays you back for what you put into it. There's tenants in there paying the new mortgage. And the reason why you're able to get more than what you paid in is because you have increased the value of the property. And that money that you take out isn't taxable because it's a loan. It's not a profit. And so this is one of the things when you hear about, oh, the rich are making so much money and they're not paying taxes. This is one of the reasons why. Because you can refinance your loan for a higher valuation than what you bought it for. You get all this money in a lump sum. Tenants are paying the rent, but you show a loss because it's new debt and you're not paying taxes on the refinance. It's brilliant. And instead of griping and moaning about what the evil rich are doing, why don't you learn how to do this yourself and put it to work and make your family rich rather than just complaining and whining like certain political parties do? And with that, we wrap up this episode. Again, I'm Drew Page. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video to help with the algorithm. If you want to get caught up with all of the Undercover Billionaire analysis, click on the Undercover Billionaire playlist link in the description below. You can get a copy of my book, The Right Defense for a Traffic Offense in Virginia, by clicking on the Amazon link below. And until next time, stay tuned.